Hey everyone, John here! And Nintendo left quite a few specifics out of last week's Direct, including pricing and just general info that is quite important to know. And because of that, it's become the Wild West of misinformation. People just believe things that aren't true. So let's first tackle this. This one's been very confusing, but Vux.net got a quote from Nintendo PR themselves, and this is about Nintendo Switch 2 editions. And in the past, we did mention that for Rune Factory, the socials said that on the Switch 2 edition for Rune Factory, the actual update will be on the cartridge, so you get the game itself and the update. But that wasn't really enough to install confidence that all Nintendo games would go that way. And first, let's just read what's on the actual box for the Switch 2 editions. It says, this Nintendo Switch 2 edition comprises the Nintendo Switch game and the Nintendo Switch 2 edition upgrade pack. Now, that isn't very clear, but what they mean by that is the Switch game is on the cartridge, the upgrade pack is on the cartridge. People broadly thought they meant that the game is on the cartridge and you download the update, but here's what Nintendo themselves say. Physical versions of Nintendo Switch 2 edition games will include the original Nintendo Switch game and its upgrade pack on the same game card, i.e., they are exclusively Nintendo Switch 2 game cards with no download code. Alternatively, some publishers may release Switch 2 edition games as download codes in physical packaging with no game card. But Nintendo themselves, for Breath of the Wild, for Kirby, for Tears of the Kingdom, for Super Mario Party, for Pokemon, for Metroid, they will all be Switch 2 edition games on the cartridge, which is important for the future, because 30 years from now, if this eShop goes down, there'll just be no way of obtaining these Switch 2 edition games. So this is a great way of preserving them, and it's great that the confusion is gone now. They are all on the cartridge. Rune Factory's on the cartridge, Breath of the Wild, all the Nintendo games are on the cartridge. Breathe easy, okay? Now, let's talk about the GameCube controller, the brand new Nintendo Classics GameCube controller. It was quite broadly reported by most major outlets that the Switch 2 GameCube controller would only work in GameCube games. And this is Nintendo's fault, by the way. What they say in the small print of the trailer for the GameCube controller is the controller is only compatible with Nintendo GameCube and Nintendo Classics. Which is, I don't know why they'd put that there, because this exact wording you can find elsewhere. Let's look at this N64 controller, for instance, where it says right here, this controller is exclusive to Nintendo 64 Nintendo Classics. Or the Super Nintendo controller. This controller is exclusive to Super Nintendo and Nintendo Classics, and neither are true. I can show you right now. Let's use an N64 controller to play, I don't know, Dark Souls. And as you can see, not ideal, but it works. You can safely ignore this small print. They've done it in the past and it's never been an issue. And GameCube controllers themselves, via the USB adapter that came with Smash Wii U and Smash Ultimate, that allows you to use any GameCube controller as a Pro controller, and it works in any game. Even the analog triggers, in some games that use the triggers to accelerate, like Trials, you can actually get analog movement on the GameCube controller. And that's absolutely going to be the case with the wireless one too. There's barely any difference beyond the extra ZL button and the C button. But if you want to, the USB adapter is compatible with the Switch 2, so there's no need to really buy a wireless GameCube controller, unless you want the extra button and the wirelessness. But you can use a wireless Wavebird with the adapter, so you kind of already have one if you have the equipment there, so it's not a necessity. But yes, you can use this controller in any game. I wouldn't worry about that small print. And the final piece of misinfo is about Mario Kart World being $90. This is simply not true. This is a European-only thing. I think people saw the euro sign, didn't recognize it, and thought it was a dollar sign. So it's been very widely adopted that this is a $90 physical game, where in fact the digital physical disparity does not exist in America. This is being introduced only in Europe. So if you're European, and in the UK, the physical will be 90 euros, whereas the digital version is going to be 80 euros. In America, it's 80 regardless. 80 digital, 80 physical. Not a good price still. I still think it's an absolutely egregious price, but you will not be paying $90 for an American physical. In the UK, at least, our pricing is also different. There is still a disparity between digital and physical, but our digital version is £66.99, whereas the physical version is £74.99. So why have they started pricing digital differently to physical in Europe? It could be because a lot of physical retailers do cut the price. like right now on Amazon France, Mario Kart World is €70, not €90. So that could be a big part of the reason, because that's still cheaper than the digital version, which is it's just kind of funny. But I'd imagine that is probably the reason, because that's not really a thing in America. But those are the three major pieces of misinfo I've seen so far. There is more out there, but it's Nintendo's fault. They really should have communicated this stuff in the Direct, because they've now made it that anyone who shouts about it on Twitter is now the source of their info, rather than them. Yeah, not great. But anyway, did you know any of this stuff, or were you savvy to it all already? Are you a clever little fella? Let me know, and we will catch you next time. Bye, everyone.